Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of the Where Are They Going podcast. I'm with Hopkins softball star Ava Pfannenbecker. Ava, say what's up.
What's up?
So, just jump into these questions like we always do. When did you start playing softball?
I actually I played baseball primarily because my brother started playing travel baseball when he was 8, so I kind of filled the void for my dad. So I played Bethwood baseball until I was around 11, and then that spring actually, I played the spring softball for Bethwood, and then I played All Stars immediately that year, and then that summer I switched to travel. So I was playing travel when I was 12, which is when I started playing softball.
And why did you pick softball over anything else?
I was a tri-varsity athlete starting freshman year, so I played field hockey, basketball, and softball, and I've been playing varsity softball since 7th grade. And I was like in it for a long run. I was a very athletic kid. I've always been athletic. And then actually freshman year, I had like some social stuff going on, like just like weird, like freshman year, friend group, whatever. And I kind of dedicated myself to softball to get through it. Like in the off season, I got really close to my high school coach, and she would hit me grounders in the gym every single day during my free periods in the middle of school. And my game changed a lot. I got a lot better. And then after like I got through it with the help of softball, it became like an emotional connector, I guess. Like I conditioned myself to think, okay, you're upset, play softball, you'll feel better. So then after that, because I was on the fence about playing college, but after that year, I was like, okay, I have to play college softball. And I ended up dropping the 2 other varsity sports I played after my sophomore year to just play softball.
And what positions do you play?
I play middle infield. For travel, I primarily play second base, and I play some shortstop. And for high school, I play shortstop.
And what's the pros of being a middle infielder?
It works out for me. Well, I played third base once, and because I've always been like bigger, I guess. Like now I'm tiny, but when I was younger, I was always tall. And so I played third base because they always say, "Oh, like the biggest girl goes to third." It's just how it works. Um, and I got a line drive to the eye
Ooh.
once. Yeah, and it was like we were playing a team that was older. So we were 12 and I was playing, and we were playing like a 14U team. So these girls were huge compared to us. And I got a line drive to the eye, and I said never again because I've always been against wearing masks. Like a lot of players in softball wear the face mask. I
Mhm.
will not do it. So then I kind of moved to second and short, and I guess the pros is you're as far away as possible from the ball without being in the outfield because I can't play outfield. I just have no depth perception. Um, that's probably my favorite part is short, and I'm also very quick with my hands, and it gives me a little bit extra time than you would at the corner positions.
And what do you do besides softball?
Recently, ever since freshman year, I guess it kind of relates to softball, but I lift. I'm pretty serious into lifting just to like gain strength for the sport, and I also do it just for myself. I'm the head of a club called Power to Play at my school. I'm the co-head, along with another girl named Annie Bertson, and it's essentially we just gather sports material and we run events like dodgeball tournaments, stuff like that at our school, and we donate them to underprivileged schools in New Haven. Um, I'm the head of that. I did kickboxing for a little bit just to like switch stuff up. Um, but pretty much everything, I feel like once you start college and you like commit to it, then it's everything you do has to revolve around it somewhere. Like I work 2 jobs during the school year, but other than that, everything's pretty much softball and school
Sound
because I go to
incredibly busy.
Hopkins.
And how do those other interests and hobbies help you in softball?
I've learned a lot of self-discipline and time management just by kind of handling a lot of things. And also, when I was playing the other sports, it helped me become really athletic. So, for example, like I played field hockey and basketball, which I said before, but you have to run a lot. And softball, it's known for not really having to do that much physical things like mobility. You kind of stand around half of the time. So I kept in shape by doing the other sports, which helped in my game. And I'm also on the softball field. I'm known for my speed. Like I'm pretty quick, and that's half of my game. It's just my speed. And being able to run and condition helped me maintain my speed in the off season when I wasn't necessarily running as much.
Biggest influence off the field?
Mm, I guess probably my dad, or Yeah, probably my dad. My dad taught me everything I know until yesterday. Actually, I just got a new glove. Until yesterday, I've used his glove since high school, which is huge. It's like a 14-inch glove because he was a pitcher. um, but yeah, I mean, he taught me everything. I never had like a hitting coach or like any type of outside work except for my team coach. So he like would bring me to the cages. He used to own a baseball facility. He's no longer part of that, but he would just, yeah, he pretty much taught me everything. My brother would help out too sometimes, but he was very like focused on his own game. So mostly my dad.
Let's spin it the other direction. Biggest influence on the field.
I've never really been like it's probably bad, but like I know a lot of people are really into like the sport they play, like watching it. And softball, you don't really I mean, you can watch college softball, but there's not really many options. There's not like big professional league. Um, so I mean, I have this saying on my travel team. So it's like my Derek Jeter moment, and it's like whenever you're on the field and you have like your all-star play, that kind of defines you as a player. And I've obviously still been waiting for that because I haven't had my big moment, as I call it. But I guess probably Derek Jeter then, because we play very similarly. We both have quick hands, and we're both like short throws and stuff like that. So probably him.
Favorite moment playing softball?
Mm, Oh, this was last summer actually. I was on the bases. I just had someone bunted and I was on first base and someone just bunted and I was able to take an extra base and I ended up at third. So I was out of breath because I like shouldn't have been on third. I should have been on second. But and then the girl right after the girl who just bunted, she hit a pop fly to second base. And I decided to try and tag up and take home on a pop fly to second base. I almost worked, but I was like, because usually the girls just like they just don't realize it. They're like they forget that a girl's on third in the heat of the moment. So I try and take advantage of it, and the girl ended up like realizing, and she threw it home. And I had this huge like catcher was maybe twice the size of me, just staring right at me with the ball, and I ended up like juking her out somehow. I don't even remember how I did it, but I like had her like on the ground and I ended up going back to third base, but I was still safe. But it was like a diving play and it was just like this huge thing. I was dying laughing because everyone was like mad at me because if I had gotten out, I was screwed because like who tags up from second base? But it was funny. It was probably my favorite moment and it's all on film because the college coaches had to see it, but it was funny.
Take me through the college decision process.
College decision process it's actually it was a little weird for me. Um, I didn't commit to the school I'm currently committed to until about 2 weeks before applications were due. So I like could have played D1 if I wanted to, like a lower D1, and that I was trying to, like I was dead set. I was like, I want to play D1 because that's like what everyone wants to do. And then I started going to some like camps and stuff, and I was told that I went specifically to a Bucknell camp, and it was like a clinic at the school with the team and stuff. And I was told when I was there by the coach, she came up to me and she's like, I'm going to tell you like straight off, like you had the skill to play here, you're just not big enough. Because it's like a big stereotype in D1 sports, especially softball and baseball, is you have to have the size. So you have to be tall. And if you're not tall, you better be big. And I'm neither of those. I'm 5'6" and 130. Like I'm just not. I'm a lot stronger than I look, but I don't have the softball look. So after that moment, it didn't really set me back because I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna find a school that will appreciate me for who I am. But I started like seeing the players, seeing how they lived. I talked to some of them, and it was just softball nonstop. And like it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner softball is all you did. And in softball, like it makes sense for another sport because there's a professional future. In softball, that's it. After college, you're done. So it didn't make sense for me to completely give my entire college life to softball. So then I decided, and it actually worked out. So I decided to start looking D3, and looking D3 allowed me to look at higher academic schools that I could play at for my intended major. So I pretty much had offers from the majority of the NESCACs by the time of September of my senior year. And that's where I was looking because my intended major is film and creative writing. So obviously I'm not playing at UCLA. It's just not going to happen.
Hmm.
Or like I'm not playing at a USC. So, and I was like, I'm playing softball in college. I'm not going to give it up. So I just was like, okay, I'm going to a NESCAC. And then Wesleyan ended up being in the top 10 film schools in the country. And I had an offer from them and I liked the school. So I just picked there last minute.
I know you just talked about it, but anything else about why you picked Wesleyan?
My actually, in addition to like the film thing, my college coach, my high school coach, she went there. So I had a lot of intel from her, just like what the school is like, a lot of personal experiences. Since COVID, I wasn't able to do an overnight visit there, which most kids do. That helps you decide big time. Like I did an overnight at another school, but I just never had the chance to do it at Wesleyan. Um, and when I was talking to the girls, just like over Zoom calls and stuff like that, I really liked them. I loved the coach. The coach was probably one of the biggest decisions why I chose the school. The assistant coach. I had most of my recruiting calls with her, and I absolutely adored her. She coached very similar to how I love to be coached. Like I don't like coaches that baby you. I like you to like, but I don't like them that are like unnecessarily tough. Because she played college ball, like she knows how to play, and she coaches like she knows how to play, and I really appreciate that in coaches. Like I hate it when it's probably controversial, but I hate it when like you have the dad coach that has never touched a ball in their life and they like tell you everything to do. It's like, come on. So it's nice because coaching staff is two females. They both play college ball and they're really experienced in what they do, and I adored it.
Do you see yourself doing anything with softball after college?
I've always had this big long dream because my dad, when we were little, my dad played in like an adult softball slow pitch league. And they would like we would go out to like we didn't go, but like they would always go out to like a bar afterwards. And it was just like a fun thing to do when you're older. So I've always said like I call it old people softball. I said like after college, I'm gonna join an old people softball league. So that's probably all I would do. I guess I've always wanted to like be an active parent and like be able to coach my kids. But I wouldn't get too into that because I'm very against like parental influences heavily in sports. I feel like it ruins kids' lives half of the time. But yeah, just like small parts of it.
When you said parental influences that ruins kids' lives in sports, I couldn't help but think of He Got Game with Denzel Washington.
Yeah. It's just like it's tough because some kids have such good talents and parents just like take advantage of it and completely burn them out when they're 8 years old and there's no like that's probably why I respect my parents the most because my brother and I obviously have some sort of talent but we're still playing college. That's very rare to see and we enjoy playing, which is even rarer. So
I think this is the most important question. Advice to younger softball players.
I guess a lot of it is why I just said like don't burn out. Like if you're gonna do it, especially with college, like you have to, even if you're playing D3, you have to love it. Like D3, I'm practicing at 6 in the morning every single day, and sometimes I'll have another lift in there, sometimes later in the day. Like you have to love it or you're gonna hate it. So I guess like play everything you can. Like I was very athletic. I played multiple sports until the last second. Just like figure out what you like, find something you like, always stay active no matter what. And if softball's not your thing, or if you like something better, don't be afraid to focus on something else. Or if you do love it, put your all into it. But if you need a break, take the break. Don't burn out. You have your entire life to get better.
That kind of reminded me of what Tyler McLean said to me on an earlier episode, which was embrace the struggle.
Yeah,
That's the first thing that he said.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle sometimes, especially after you like commit to it. You're gonna have really bad days. Everyone does, and you just kind of have to get through it and keep moving forward.
Biggest strength in your game?
As I said, I'm pretty quick. I'm a middle infielder, and I'm known just for my glove work. Like I have very quick hands. So what I'm known for. My transfer is really fast and makes up for some of my weaknesses. And my fielding is my number one thing. I'm known for my fielding, and that's what keeps me hitting, which is usually the opposite. Most kids who can hit field, and my ability to field keeps me in the lineup. So
now let's expose you. Biggest weakness in your game?
My biggest weakness is definitely my arm slot. It works for me, but like everyone who sees me is like, what the heck are you doing? Because I throw very sidearmed, but I don't like submarine it or anything. I throw very sidearm, and I just don't have muscle in my arms, like visible muscle. I was actually born with less muscle in my body than the average person. Um, that's why I'm just like very lean no matter what I do. Like you see me in there lifting, like I lift a lot. I just like I don't know, I'm tiny. Um, and my arm just doesn't. I don't throw my elbow up at all. And because of that, I'm very accurate, but because of my arm slot, I just cannot throw it that far. I can throw it hard, I just can't throw it like from the outfield, so that limits me as a player, as a utility player. Yeah, I can play anywhere in the infield. It's just outfield is really not for me.
Now you were talking about like not being able to build muscle on your arm and like the arm being like a weak part of your body. Did that motivate you to start lifting?
um, Most of what motivated me to start lifting was just like you gotta do it. Like it's part of the game. It's honestly one of the biggest parts of the game is being strong because if you have talent but you're not strong, it's not going to matter when you start facing better players. Um, but yeah, I when I started seeing like my first results when I started lifting, it was a big deal to me. Even like I look the exact same as I did freshman year. My body, if anything, when I lift, I just get more toned and I look smaller. Um, but to me, like I used to get upset over that, but now it's like I see the results more so in my performance rather than my physical appearance. Um, so that's what matters to me now. After I've learned, like, okay, this is what your body's gonna look like until your metabolism slows down. So might as well get used to it and just see the benefits.
Favorite pregame meal and music?
It's gonna sound really bad what I eat. But every single tournament, so softball tournaments work out as you have every Saturday, you usually have an 8 a.m. game. So you usually have 3 games. So you have an 8 a.m., usually a 10. And if you get lucky, you'll have like a 1 o'clock game. But most times you don't get lucky and you'll have like an 8, a 12, and a 3. And it sucks because you're there all day and you don't leave till like 6 o'clock. Um, so if I have an 8 a.m. game, I have to be on the field for warm-ups by 7. The cleats on, yeah, it's terrible. I live pretty far from everywhere, so I usually have to leave my house by around 6 a.m. That's like the latest I'll leave my house. And so my pregame meal is my dad usually brings me to my tournaments, and when he does, other times my mom does, but when my dad brings me, I always go to the same Dunkin' on the way there, no matter where it is. We like stop before the highway. I go to Dunkin', I get a plain toasted bagel with cream cheese, a chocolate glazed donut, a glazed stick, and a chocolate milk. And I eat it every single morning, no matter what, when I have games. So yeah, it's not very healthy. Like other girls on my team will have like oatmeal or like fruit, and I have donuts for breakfast every day. Music. I'm not a big playlist girl. I listen to music, but I'm very big on the radio. Like I like variation in
Mm-hmm.
music, so I'll either like put on, like Hits One or whatever, 101.3, or I'll listen to some just like the Lumineers. I like listening to them in the car. Um, yeah, or sometimes I put on like the oldies music radio whenever I need to fall asleep for the extra hour if I was up late that night. But yeah, I like the variation on the radio.
That isn't like the worst pregame meal answer that I've heard.
Really?
On one of the episodes I was on with Morgan, McKaylin, and Peyton Ron, who are three triplets who played field hockey. And Morgan said that her pregame meal was ice cream and she doesn't recommend it to people. But
Well, do they have like morning games? I feel like ice cream for the morning. I'd probably do that though. I eat ice cream for like whenever I'm home, like for Zoom classes, and I don't eat until like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, which again is a bad thing, but I have ice cream. Like I
you just
have
grab a
no,
tub of ice cream.
yeah, I have no nutritional nothing.
Any pregame superstitions?
Besides the food, I have two pairs of sliders. I have, which I guess if people don't know what sliders are, they're like spandex, I guess, with some extra padding in them that you wear under your softball pants. I have one of them is a pink and yellow tie dye, and the other one is just my team sliders that are just black. I wear the pink ones every single Saturday, no matter what, even if they're dirty, I put them on, and I wear my black ones every Sunday, and I never switch them, even if, yeah, no matter what, I always wear those two. Yes, and that and the food, I always eat the same meal.
And I know you talked about Derek Jeter earlier, but favorite softball/baseball player?
Um, as I said, like I don't really follow softball. The only softball player I know is because when we were at Beecher, it may just be like a weird memory of mine, but I feel like we, for some reason, started talking about Jenny Finch, and somehow she had a relation with Beecher or Woodbridge. I don't remember. I feel like that was just like, it may just be one of those like things that you like remember, but it's not actually true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only like softball player I know, and she's like the best pitcher ever. I don't really relate to her because I'm not a pitcher, so probably Derek Jeter. Like I only watch baseball. I don't watch. Sometimes I'll play on college softball, but I don't usually. Yeah, my Derek Jeter moment definitely comes from Jeter himself.
Yeah. And this may be a similar answer, but who do you model your game after?
I'm a big proponent of like obviously I have my little similarities. I want to say I model them, but my similarities to like Jeter and other players. But I'm a big proponent of not trying to replicate someone else's game in your own game. It just doesn't work. Like when you figure out what you're good at, you need to like really emphasize on it and focus on what you're good at and develop it to work for yourself in your game. Like for years, like with my arm, what I said before, for years, every single coach I've had has tried to fix my arm, teach me to throw differently. Like I had one of my coaches for my travel team. I've never left my travel team since 12U, but the head of the organization coaches, he's a pitching coach at U Heart for softball. And he told me, he's like, if you don't fix your arm, no one's going to take you. And he told me that when I was like 13. And obviously I tried to fix it. Like I would throw and with my arm up and stuff like that, and nothing worked. But then finally, after he saw me like get a lot better and realized you can play with a messed up arm. He was like, don't change it. Like everyone's going to try and change it. Obviously very hypocritical. He's like, everyone's going to try and change you, but just stick to what you know and stick to what you're good at. But yeah, I guess it's just like implement what you know into yourself and don't try and adapt someone else's talents to your own because it's not, they are their talents. They're not yours.
And do you have any nicknames? If so, where do they come from?
Well, my name is 3 letters. It's the same forwards and backwards. So I don't really have that much room for nicknames. I mean, this girl on my team, Emma Tirolo, she calls me, we're pretty close, and she'll call me like Ave sometimes, like during like dugout chants. We don't really chant, but like if she's like cheering me on or something in the batter's box, she'll be like, go Ave or something like that. And this other girl, Mesa Queso, also does it. Other than that, I don't really have any nicknames. I guess like lucky number 7 sometimes because I'm number 7. But other than that, that's it. Oh, people call me. I'm a big klutz. I get hurt every single season. It's just like a known thing with me. So I'm kind of. It's not really a nickname, but they like call me like klutz or like injured girl all the time.
And that was my last question. Other than this one, who do you want to see on the series next?
I was actually gonna say Emma because I mean I don't really know many kids. I guess yeah, Emma. I'm trying to think if I know no one at my school. I'm the only kid who like plays softball seriously on my high school team. I think my brother could be interesting just because we like came from the same background exactly, and we ended up in similar situations. But we both had the same struggles with like size and stuff. But he obviously is a guy and I'm a girl, so that could be interesting seeing like the different viewpoints of sports. Oh, my cousins. My cousin, Gabby Delacroix, she was at Canterbury right now. She plays hockey. And my younger cousin, Joey, he's at Hampden Hall currently. He also plays hockey and baseball. And they're both, like, extremely good hockey players. Like, we'll probably go pro in hockey. Like, they're very good.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You guys, those Pfannenbeckers are all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in my family plays like baseball except for them. They play hockey. They're just like the hockey kids out of nowhere. But yeah, very athletic family.
All right. Well, this has been episode 8 with Ava Pfannenbecker. Come back next week, and we'll have someone else on here.
Thank you.